it's funny how, we saw back November where Kyrie was getting completely slandered and a lot of things were going on about him, and you owe him an apology for it. But now that he's playing well, the Nets are second place in the Eastern Conference. There seems to be a lot of crickets in the hitless streets and a lot of around the media. No one's really talking to playing. So, but everything else was kind of is what they wanted to do. So, what are your thoughts here?
I'm gonna just quote myself from 2 years ago. A lot of people need to just come out and say that they just don't like Kyrie. I would respect that more. If you tell me you don't like the guy, then I don't have any expectations of any same energy because the energy has been established. But if you keep pumping this, first he's this, he's a bad teammate, he's crazy for leaving LeBron, now he's anti-Semitic. Now it's all of these things going on. If it's about basketball, you just don't like the guy. Just say it. I don't like LeBron. I say it all the time. I don't hesitate from anything. But when it comes to basketball, if he does something good, I give him his credit. Y'all don't like Kyrie. Y'all don't want to see him successful. Y'all want him to lose. And honestly, I'm sorry to say it, but I tell the truth. It's a lot of people who don't look like us who have the most to say about Kyrie, and then they get quiet when he does well until he fails again. And that's a bigger problem when they complain about being trolled, but then they don't want to keep the same energy when he's being successful. It's a sad reality.
Well, Ray, thank you for joining us, man. We really appreciate it. Congrats to you on what you're doing with the Rap Roundtable, man. We're definitely proud of you and the success. So make sure you check that out all the time on YouTube, Rap Roundtable. So take care, Ray. We'll talk to you soon, man.
I'll be back soon. I got some things I want to get off, so I'll be around.
We definitely appreciate you guys. What do you think of what? Do we owe Mike? Do we owe Kyrie an apology? Do you owe him an apology? What? Because we had a few shows, Matt, that you weren't on last month.
Listen, man.
With Kyrie. I'm being honest.
We was talking about what happened, man. What apology? I said what I said, and I stand on it. And now he's not. Oh, magically, I said this last week. Kids, pay attention. Magically, no controversy. The team's winning. Nothing's happening but basketball. The team is winning.
But but hold on. A lot of that controversy was literally put not by him.
Self-inflicted.
Some of it's self-inflicted, but some of it is like it's and me and some people talk about it, even Carl. For some people, unfortunately, on how they look and who they are in this sports world, they can do certain things and that controversy's dead. Immediately, a la Dana White can smack his wife on TV, and Stephen A. Smith says, "Oh, he's a good friend. He's better than this. He's a good person." And nobody's talking about it. But Kyrie retweets a story or a book, and it's on every channel every time we wake up in the morning. So let's think about what the word controversy really is. It's not self-inflicted. It's the media choosing who they want to stick with and who they don't want to stick with. So that's the problem I have with what happened with Kyrie is if the media just would have, after the first day, just let it go. Let it go. Okay, we said what Kyrie did, just like they did with Dana White. We said what he did. He said what he did. Story's over. Next, we're going to talk about the World Cup. No, they the ones who harbored on it every single day and made this man talk about it every single day. And that was the controversy.
Well, part of that, now the self-inflicted part was, for example, when we talk about, and we talked about this, we talk about Myers Leonard with his controversy, and we talked even about Don Imus. Like when these people had their issues, the next day they gave their statements of apology, it was over. That's not what happened with Kyrie. And everybody got lost in that by saying the media. Kyrie, one of Kyrie's challenges, and we all see this in different ways in our life, one of his challenges and how this was self-inflicted and he fanned the flames is that he kept on being indignant and he kept on speaking without clarifying. If it was like those two situations, because Myers Leonard hasn't been in the league yet, it was over for him. Once he said what he said.
But that's another thing. This is the first time in the history we've ever chastised somebody for a repost of an entire series that had a lot of different parts, not just one part. It's the first time ever.
But that's the problem, right? Mac. But it's not. But that's what we do is we're minimizing what the power of the movie was, or the documentary. So it's not just
what happened after he tweeted. Like Mike, let's really talk about it. What happened after Kyrie posted this tweet? Were there people? Wait. Were there people?
Look at the number sales. The viewers went up.
Yeah, the viewers went up because of the media putting the story, not a Kyrie's tweet. So it wasn't Kyrie who did it. It was the media.
So
So
no,
why didn't they apologize for
so it was a
promoting more than Kyrie?
combination of both. But this is what I'm saying. It's a combination of both. No one thinks about the video if Kyrie doesn't tweet it. But if you say, well, the media focused on Kyrie tweeting it, both things have to exist. In other words, the media can't make up things. They can just highlight.
Not necessarily
things.
because like Paul Pierce, like Dana White he slapped his wife. I didn't see a spike in the last 4 or 5 days of domestic violence because of Dana White's video that went out. So they chose to not promote it purposely because of the person who he is, and we haven't heard about it. It hasn't become a big deal.
Right.
So it's a target.
These are two separate.
It's a target.
It's a target.
Okay,
it's a target.
But what I'm saying is we're having.
And the other part, right? But again, Mike, to Ray's point before he left, the target you could basically say, I'll call it out and say this again. It has to deal with race, right?
But here's the thing. But so this is why I'm saying we're having two separate arguments. If I don't do something, there's nothing for people to talk about. But if I do something and someone highlights it, there's two separate conversations. There's a conversation of what is the movie he tweeted? What do you feel about the movie? What do you think about it? Then there's a separate conversation of who elevates the movie. Why are you elevating
you're gonna get
Why
deeper,
are you targeting him? These are two
we're
separate
gonna
conversations.
get deeper now because here's the part. When Kyrie first did it, the question wasn't, Kyrie, how do you feel about the whole entire film? It was automatic from Jump Street, day one, second one, you're anti-Semitic.
No, that's not what happened. What happened was it was a question asked to him. How do you feel about the anti-Semitic language that is in this video? And he was indignant about it because he did not answer that question, and then
because he knew happened. We'll move on from this because it's a good conversation.
Yeah, it's a good.
We'll move
on. Do we owe him? The overall question is based upon his play now, as far as they try to chastise him for what happened.
Let me answer mine directly again. In terms of what I was saying about the issue, which is similar to what me and Mac was just talking about, what I was saying was my challenge to Kyrie was I didn't think he had the knowledge that he needed to have to fully articulate this conversation on the one side about what this means to be a Hebrew Israelite, all of that conversation. I didn't think he had that. But in general, I felt like focus on basketball. If you focus on basketball and not all this other stuff, yes, the media is highlighting it, but if you don't do it, they can't highlight it. So I'm happy for him that they're not dealing with all of that and they're playing great basketball. And I don't think it's a coincidence that there's no controversy and because it can't be fabricated and they're playing great basketball. I think that's significant because we see it happen all the time in the league.
Ziggs, what do you, an apology or no?
I'm not apologizing for nothing. I was never one chastising Kyrie. I can only speak for myself. I was standing by Kyrie the entire time where people look for any reason to flame him. I think people, like Jarv said earlier, people have been having a reason to dislike Kyrie ever since he made that the earth is flat comment. You know what I mean? I think the media tends to highlight people who have a different thought process and they like to drag it on and on and on. Look at what they did to Marshawn Lynch. You know what I mean? He had his own reasons for doing what he had to do, and they just kept running with it. Knowing this man's not going to answer any questions, they just kept running with it. But like we all know, playing games and watching NBA and sports for that matter, when you win games, it cures everything. You know what I mean? It's when you start losing is when you start having the problems. But I'm not apologizing for nothing. Shout out to Kyrie. He was able to still carry that team with KD going down against Miami the other night. And I'm going to continue rooting for him all the way. It's not changing. Not for me.
Coach, apology. Do we do? I don't say you because I didn't know your opinion about the whole thing, but I guess do they owe? I mean,
I don't think nobody owes him an apology because if you're dumb enough to think that Kyrie, basketball-wise, isn't one of the best top 15 players in the NBA, 20 players in the NBA, you just don't know basketball. So I'm not. Me and Mike's, little back and forth wasn't about me disagreeing what he said because what he said is correct. The controversy left. And you just see the basketball, which he's one of the most talented basketball players. My biggest thing was just not countering Mike, but just adding on to it that I think a lot of it was, it might have been self-inflicted, but I think a lot of it was more inflicted by the media who just wanted to drive a story. Because here's one thing, and I'll say this, I'll end with this. Kyrie has a great game tomorrow. The media can still ask him, hey, so you never answered that question about what you felt about the video. But it's another story. They needed that story when they wanted it, and they kept it going as long as they wanted to keep it going. You get what I'm saying? He still hasn't answered the same question that he didn't answer the first week where they didn't stop. He still hasn't answered it. But now the higher ups have gave their barking orders to say, hey, don't ask that anymore. Just the same way they did with Dana White. They told their people who work, don't ask Kyrie anymore about it because he's playing good, Nets are doing good, we're over that. So the media decides when to chastise people and when not to. And that's just the problem I have.
Yeah, they pivot the narrative. We know that.